back to Let's Talk Stroke. I am your host, Jerry Wald, also a stroke survivor. And for those of you that are new here, I started doing this show to bring awareness to stroke, TBI, aphasia, brain injury, and also to provide a platform for all survivors to share their stories, their journeys from all across the world. And also bringing on experts in brain health to share their knowledge with us. So this morning's guest is the one and only Dr. Tom Broussard, and we're going to talk about aphasia, why we all need to spread the word, to talk about it, because I run into people all the time that don't know what that is. So anyway, please make comments, ask questions, because Tom Broussard is here, Dr. Broussard is here, and he's an expert in all this. So please ask questions, make comments, and also if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, Let's Talk Stroke, please do that. So let's go ahead and get started. Well, good morning, Zane and Jocelyn. Thanks for being here. So let's bring on Dr. Broussard. Good morning.
Hi, Jerry. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Nice to see you as usual.
Nice to see you. How was your Memorial Day weekend?
It was good. It was a busy weekend. You know, we had barbecues with the family. We have to separate days because there's so many of them. So yeah, it was a good. You know, the funny thing, we went to see that Tom Cruise Maverick,
Right.
Top Gun, and I think I was telling you this morning. It's kind of crazy that right when the good part ready to happen, the fire alarm went off and the entire theater had to be evacuated. You know, and sitting in the sun at 100 degrees weather.
Wow.
That was crazy. But how was yours?
Good. Same as you had said. We just with the family barbecue, hot dogs and hamburgers. We went driving around the coast a little bit. A beautiful day here. For us, it was 83, which for us is, hot.
Pretty warm.
But it wasn't too hot. Really breeze there off the coast.
Good.
It was a lot of fun.
That's great. Good morning, Mark. Nice to see you, both of you, all three of you. I know there's a lot of people watching, but make comments, you guys. Ask questions. But I'm really shocked how people don't know. I mean, we're starting to spread the word about aphasia. You know, as I mentioned this yesterday, we went to the movies, and I have all the, these magnets, on my car, and I can see people staring at them. So I bring up the question, and they don't know. They ask questions, and I mean, we're all trying to get the word out there, what it is, and it's shocking. Like, maybe I shouldn't say that anymore because I'm running into people more and more about aphasia that they don't know.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's going to be the way it's going to be till we do an awful lot more work to get to the millions. I keep talking about the millions. We're talking about, very few other than the people who actually know it and learned it.
Right.
But you heard recently we had a third state has put their aphasia tag on their car, the actual registration. So it's first is Maine, mine, second one is Georgia, and the third is Illinois. Brad Lamike, you might know him.
Brad Lamike, exactly.
Yeah. So you're in Texas, you should get one there.
I know. I told you I would be doing it, and I haven't done it yet, but I plan on it because with all the magnets and the license plates, it'll make a big difference.
Oh yeah, mine too. I have the car magnets plus, of course, the car registration that says aphasia. But you can see them staring all the time when they pull up behind you. You can see they're looking like this. What is this? What is this all about? So it helps just for them to be thinking about what is this word.
Right. What do you explain to them when they see you? I mean, when you get out of the car, do people come up to you?
Yeah, and they say, "What is this thing, aphasia?" And you probably heard people say, is it a religion? Is it a new country? um, the is it, they'll ask if it's something Jewish.
Oh, you had that. Wow.
um, but I tell them, I said, you and a stroke is? And they said, yeah. I said, well, people with people that have a stroke, a large component, I said like 30 to 40% of people with stroke get this thing called aphasia. It's when you lose your language. You cannot read, write, or speak well. And at that point, they had no idea. I said, and it's connected to, there's bread. Yeah, there you go. It's connected, and that's the part of the kids have no idea about aphasia. There's no connectivity. So people go, they really have no idea. So I tell people with stroke, the stroke people, you have to connect it with aphasia from the beginning. So I tell them that, and usually they're aghast. And I tell them, so it happened with me. I tell them what I used to do. I lost my language. I could not keep my job. And at that point, they're just going, wait a minute, you're talking now. I said, yes, it takes a long time for this to happen. And then, of course, I always give them these days, I give them my brochure. It's always now on the dashboard, just because they will always come, and you need something with you to give it.
Right. And you print it. I'm going to print that out.
Yeah, just print it. I've given it to everybody, or you can send it to the people with whom you're in touch. That I don't have their emails, but yeah, they can all print them out themselves and put it on their dashboard and bring it to your groups.
Yeah,
Gives a good amount of information, plus the websites too.
exactly. I'm going to take this down here so we can see some of the comments. Oh, there it is. So Jenny, I wonder which part of the brain causes aphasia. Good question.
Well, there's a couple places in the brain. Of course, anywhere on the brain can be affected in one way or another, but more usually it is in the Broca's area, which is about here, or the Wernicke's area, which is further back. They are areas of the brain that have a particular skill more. It's called localized. It's more than other places in the brain, although language has an awful lot to do all over the brain. That's why you hear them talking about when they do one of the tests, the MRIs, when the brain lights up, because it is lighting up. It isn't goes one place, and it's not a switch that can be moved. It lights it up, but lights it up here or here or here or here. But since the brain is also localized, those two particular areas, where the Broca's area has trouble expressing what it wants to say, and the Wernicke's area has trouble receiving, understanding what's been said to them. So those are the two areas that are more dominant about aphasia related. Although there's global aphasia, obviously all over the place, can't deal with any of them. But yeah, that's pretty much how it works.
Right.
Where it sits, actually.
Yeah, I see that. So Jenny's asking which lobes. Hopefully that answered her question there.
Which lobes? Yeah, the frontal lobe.
Yeah. I'm looking. There's so many people out here. I really appreciate you guys being here. And again, ask questions. Can you see the comments there on the right side?
I can.
Oh, good. Okay, good. Yeah. So, and you're doing a lot of speaking engagements out there with at other places. I saw it. You posted a YouTube video. At least the latest one was a great one. When you were sharing your story and talking about that, it was just remarkable. Yeah, I see Carolyn's comment there. Let's see. I need to get in Maryland. Yeah. Oh, sorry to hear that. Yeah. Yeah, I see. Thank you, Deborah, for being here. And here, okay, so Yvonne from Greece is asking, and temporal, I can't say it right. Can you
I'm
see
sorry.
that there? Yvonne's asking there. And temporal?
Temporal. Oh, yes. Yes. Yep. Temporal. I always have a hard time pronouncing the areas of the brain, but yes, temporal and frontal.
Okay, okay. I see all you guys doing asking those. So wow. So what other? Because I know isn't there about 7 uh, um, different types of aphasia?
There are several uh, that I can't say them all at the same time, but there's Broca's aphasia, Wikinees aphasia,
Yeah.
global aphasia, and well, of course, primary progressive aphasia. So that's a few of them, but yeah.
Right, right. Yeah, dyslexia. I'm probably butchering that out too, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I see that it's nice that a lot of people are kind of like Stephen for Google Roku's area located in the front left hemisphere, associated with speech production and articulation. That's probably mine.
Yeah, I see one that says, "What's the most common?"
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure, but I assume it's Broca's area. I'm assuming, because I think
Okay.
there's fewer that I'm aware of that are more receptive, and I know, very few with PPA, although they're still just as terrible. But I think most is Broca. But even in my case, they said I had trouble with both of them, but more with expressive than receptive anyway.
Right.
So again, because it
And
is so connected.
yeah, and they can. I'm looking at Zane's comment here. I put it on the screen, and they can change.
They can change. You mean how?
Different aphasia.
Meaning that they improve? Is that the question?
I don't know, Zane. Are you saying that you can change from a expressive or different types of aphasia? And I wonder because for me it seems like and I just been thinking this. Mine got worse as years gone by.
Huh.
I feel like it did.
You mean your language skills has gotten worse over the years?
Yeah, I believe it has. And maybe it's because I'm recognizing what really aphasia is, and maybe I didn't. Um, maybe I was just talking bad, and I just realized it that I'm not talking as well like I used to be.
Well, most of us on the call with you know you and have known you for several years.
Right.
And I would say that you have improved over these years. Although, like you say, I think being aware of, meaning being more aware of the various language errors you had been making before. Now you're just more aware of them, and that helps you target them more. It's like buying a VW. You never see them until you buy one, then they're everywhere.
Yeah.
So the same thing happens, I think, with even the errors. If you're unaware of your errors, you really can't really tell until you get to become more aware of those errors, and they are like the VW. Now you can see them and they're everywhere, and now you can, quote, focus on them, attack them, be understanding of them, as well can us, because we tell you all the time that you're getting better. And if you weren't, I would probably tell you that too, but not on this call.
Oh, it's okay. I mean, yeah, I'm looking. Yeah, attention.
Brain.
What is it? I think Zane, you're saying types of aphasia.
Mhm.
'Cause yeah, I'm trying to go back. Brad, thank you. I've improved.
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
Need the encouragement. Yeah.
Attention. Yeah.
Exactly. So So yeah, so you're doing a lot of speaking engagements, and I'm starting to do quite a bit more, going talk to different hospitals, and I'm amazing how someone, not the speech therapist, but other um, like PTOT, that they're not really knowledgeable in aphasia, what that really means. They've heard of it,
Hmm.
and I found that out my last speak, my last talk at one of the groups. I was really shocked how the some of the therapists, my occupational and PT therapists didn't know. I mean, they've heard aphasia, but they really don't know the depth of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Um, yes, it doesn't, it helps, of course, to read pieces of paper about aphasia that's written by clinicians. It's different from being able to hear from people who actually experienced it. And now, as we're now able to express what we couldn't express before, now they can better understand what this means, because it goes through the filter, which is your brain, but it goes through that process of being damaged and
right,
then improving. And the black box is the thing in the middle that has that capacity to bring in the information, no matter how bad it was, um, and do the integration that allows you to begin to speak again. Because what was missing were all those connectivities between the one coming from here getting to the other side, and that's
right.
where it was broken.
Mm,
But yeah, if you haven't had aphasia, you won't be able to tell other people as well as we are,
right.
as opposed to
And I see
clinicians or
Deborah's asking, what does Barb, my wife, say about
yeah,
me speaking, better or worse?
yeah,
She never says it's better or worse. She just, when I'm starting to talk, she goes, she doesn't understand a lot of times, especially when it gets in the evening time. Like, I'm getting worse, but she'll never say that. But she could say, "What did you say?" Or I just don't understand, and I just don't finish the question. I just, yeah, must have not been that important. So,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
but
yeah. And of course, there's other issues too. As we get older, um, uh,
mm,
forget about aphasia and stroke. As we all get older, you get tired. You're less able to pay attention to what's going on around you, just because there's a downward track in terms of the way the brain cells start to disintegrate. Very
right,
slow, but it does happen. So yes, if your curve was always going up, and however slow it was going up, and now you finding out there's another curve coming down that's just by nature, then yes,
right,
you can add those two together, and depending on what's happening, you can say, oh, maybe I am doing quote worse, but it's not because of your aphasia. It's just because of the tide of your brain's ability starts to go down as we just get older.
right, right. And my
Yeah.
Mark Harder, I like your um, you got, I don't know if you could see this, Mark, saying I was fluent until I realized I was not saying real words. Now I'm unfluent and bite my tongue. Oh, Mark, that's funny. Yeah, but I know it's important to exercise. I see you saying that, Yvonne, um, to enable improvement. But I still don't. When some people write long text, or like I get, for instance, my daughter will make a long text. I can't read it. I mean, I can read it, but it's just tired me. I mean, really, does that happen to you as far as long? But you're writing books and doing all that. But your books are amazing. How um, they're I can understand it.
Hmm.
Really
Well,
good.
so you were saying that your daughter was writing long sentences and
Uh,
you were having a hard time reading it?
yeah, I just because I don't want to read it. I mean, I can a little like some of these comments here. Like, okay, kid, you're gonna write. She wrote a long, Catherine. I don't know if you can see that long text or
Mm-hmm.
comment there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, would I read it all with with stroke, anything to do with stroke like this, I can read them. But if it has to do with nothing to do with stroke, I don't know. It's not like I want to be rude, but I just don't want to read a long text. It just kind of
Sure,
tires me out.
sure, sure. Yeah,
But yeah, I could see kids saying because of my carotid burst and blood pool around her brain. Also, I have two veins connected to the sides of the brain. The neurologist sent me to another hospital, which um, had a great neurosurgeons. I couldn't fly for at least 2 to 4 years.
wow.
Mm.
And it burst.
Yeah. Let's see, Carolyn. Does it affect life going down? I don't know. I don't. Yeah, I guess it's different for everybody. But you like later on today, I believe you have another session about aphasia.
That's true with General Hayden
Yeah,
at 1.
yeah. I can't wait to. I guess it's a private session, but people can join in.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know that they said it was private, but I think you'll still be able to see it, I guess. It's just not interactive like this.
Well, right, right.
I think, I assume.
And I do love this. I'll put this up here. And this is your newest
Oh,
book, right?
that's true. Yeah.
Cool. Nice, nice. Can you explain that? The metaphors and
Sure. One of the I'll be speaking soon with a group in Minnesota, and they asked me what's my favorite metaphor, and I told them, well, I didn't tell them. I said, what's your favorite metaphor? Apparently, they bought some of my books and they've been reading about it, and they like them all. They just want to know which one is best. And I don't know if the folks here in the group have seen it or read it, but they're 15 chapters, each of which are written with, as Jerry says, with words we can understand. They're
right.
written as metaphors, so that even if you don't fully understand how the brain works per se, the metaphors lets you go, oh yeah, I really understand how this works given the metaphor, which really just compares two quite dissimilar, different themes, but bringing them together, you can understand one from understanding the other, as it were.
Right.
But of course, as a metaphor, you have to understand the basics for it. So I'll start with the first one as a good example.
Right.
If everybody knows what a Rosetta Stone is, so most of us learn that in elementary school. It's always a big issue thing because this little, well, we got copies of this little stone. It's a pretty big stone. And it was made thousands of years ago, written in 3 different languages. Back then, they were talking to their particular masses, to their public, but they had various people who spoke different languages. So they wrote in 3 different languages the same report, the same information. But that got lost over the years. I mean, over thousands of years. So when the scientists started looking, or the archaeologists started looking at the tombs in Egypt, they could see that somebody was writing with these different little figures, but they didn't know what that meant. They hadn't figured out how to translate that into English so we could understand, until they found the Rosetta Stone in the, I think it was early 1900s. They found that Rosetta Stone, and they could tell that there's 3 languages. One they knew, and then they could translate to the other 2. So now we can understand it. So the Rosetta Stone of aphasia recovery is persistent and repetitive language activity. That is the Rosetta Stone.
Wow.
No matter what it is, if it's receptive, expressive, whatever it is, it just continues to need, in addition to other things, persistent and repetitive language activities. So that's the Rosetta Stone as one good metaphor for how the brain works.
Wow. And it's all in your Stroke and Aphasia Recovery, the newest book?
Yes, they're all here. They're all there. I always like this one. This is a good metaphor that everybody is really pretty much understands about photosynthesis. We learned that too in elementary school. Photosynthesis is converting sunlight, into green leaves, right? Sugars and green leaves. Turns out, of course, that plasticity converts thought, might as well be sunlight, thought and cognitive activities into new brain matter. Green leaves, as it were, right?
Right.
The metaphorical branches and leaves are the dendrites and synapses when it comes to actually creating new brain matter. And that is also how we all got better. We do these activities, they convert, because that's the way they are made, they convert those activities into new brain matter, in particularly growing the fibers, the dendrites, between one cell to another cell, because the destroyed cells, they're gone, and they took the dendrites and synapses with them, but the remaining cells have that capacity to grow new dendrites and synapses, more fiber, and the synapses, the gap between them, and that's where the connectivity happens. And we all lost thousands of miles of fiber in your head. And you can only imagine how tired it is to grow new thousands of miles back. That's why you're so tired, and you're tired for a long, long time, because it takes a lot of energy, mental energy, to convert these activities, converting them into the way the brain works to grow. Like anything that's growing, it takes a long time to grow thousands of miles of fiber.
You got to do it our whole life to do that.
Our whole life.
Now, let's see here. Oh, okay. Do you see Steve's asking, are any of your books Audible?
No, they're all in ebook. The 5th book hasn't been moved into ebook, but it will come soon. It always takes them more time to convert. This is only the soft cover. The hard cover is still another week or 2 away, and then ebook will come like a month after that. Just takes their machine to take their time. But no Audible. I'll say yet. One of these days.
Yeah. There you go. There's your answer, Stephen. Okay, yeah. Excellent. I like that, Serena. I didn't know you were there. But great explanation she told you. Or you told us.
Thank you. The here's another one that I like. This one, again, a lot of these metaphors have to do with who we were when we were kids,
Right.
actually. So this is another one. This is a merry-go-round spinners. We always had them. We still have them, where you hop on and everybody spins them around. Everybody's holding on so they don't fall off. We do it at those various games even at Disney World, where they go spinning around. Well, in this particular case, when it comes to plasticity and improvement, I mentioned before, persistent activities on a day-to-day basis, you have to keep doing that, because if you don't do it, you only do it once a week or twice a week, then there's a burst of energy that starts the process. But if you don't keep it going, it sort of tails off again. There's 10 principles of neuroplasticity, and one is lose it or lose it. The other is use it or improve it. So if you do it once or twice a week, it's like going to the gym. You can do your workouts, but you only do it every 3 days, 4th day. Well, whatever you were doing before, it's going to go away. You have to do it all over again, right? As we all know. Same thing happens with language activities and plasticity, if you don't do it every day, then it won't keep building up the momentum. So it's like the merry-go-round. When we talk about homework is more than just homework. Once you get that spinner up and running, it takes a lot less energy just to keep it going. But you have to do it regularly, because if you don't, and you don't push it anymore, obviously it slows down, stops, and that means that there's no more additional therapy activity and plasticity. And as a result, those new ones, you just built new ones, they start to, quote, go away, because you need more energy to keep it going. But now the good news is, like homework, you keep doing it every day, it'll continue to build with that momentum. So the momentum is also an important component of that.
Great explanation there. Mike, it's hard to bring up all the comments, but Carolyn, you see her? My sister is trying to help me, but I want to do what I have used to do before the fourth stroke. Should I slow down again?
Trying to help me, and I want to do. Should I slow down again? There's obviously, and you must know, you and your doctors must know where those additional strokes have come from and what's the underlying foundation that has made that a fourth to become a fifth. And that'll be the issue. So you can tell us through your chats here, you can tell us what's causing these additional strokes.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, there's some other ones here too that I don't know if it's from Yvonne, but I say repeat because the dendritic of cleaning is nightly.
Yeah,
sorry,
repetition.
Yeah,
as you say, repetition.
Exactly. So so those, I know I haven't gotten the book yet. I will be buying it, but so it's all about metaphors.
Well, the metaphors, well, it's images. So everything you see here, there are images, right?
Yeah.
And it's about the images. It's about words that you know. So most of these are very small words, because in the beginning, all I could understand were one word or two words or three words. Eventually, knowing that if I can do three words, I can work hard on making a fourth word. And it wasn't the words were the problem. It's really the connectivity between the one and the connectivity to the two. So if the stop sign, one word, stop, I knew what that meant. I knew the image. I knew the meaning of what that meant. The next one, speed limit. I could understand that too, because there were speed limit. But when you start to put three words that are meant to be a sentence with meaning, however, it's the connectivity between the one, the two, and the three. And it's with the connectivity is missing or weak, so it cannot, quote, connect with the information that moves from the one to two to three. That is when you cannot, quote, read, because there's a lot more that goes into not being able to read that doesn't have much to do with the words themselves, what I mean to say.
But you from day one kept a diary or a journal.
That's true.
Wow.
Yeah. So that in my particular case, when people say, well, how can that help them? And I tell them, because it doesn't matter how bad your language is, it is the activities themselves. That is how it works. I started writing in my diary the first 200 pages. It took 11 months to get that far. The words made no sense. the individual words were spelled properly, but you put them together, which I did, or I tried to do. Actually, I made them look like a sentence, but they didn't make any sense to you or me today.
Right.
It was only later, much later, years later, when I began to realize, oh, I was writing physically, because you had to be thinking, right? It has to come from here, has to go down your hand to your fingers here and start writing. It is the activity of writing. It didn't matter how bad the writing was. It is this actual physical activity. And as I was writing in the diary, even though I was unaware, what was happening, my language was improving. So actually you get to see, and you see it in my presentations, you get to see my first entry, no sense. 6 months later, oh, you start to see Tom was making some amount of sense, but not all, but you can see some of them. 9 months later, he was writing it perfectly, although I did practice a lot. So, but I was still unaware. So really from the beginning to the end of 11 months, 9 months, I thought all of it looked fine.
Right.
The first was awful. I didn't know that. The second one was awful, but getting better. I didn't know that. The third was perfectly. I didn't know that either. I thought they were all the same.
Right.
And it was 2 more months at 11 months while writing again in my diary, when I felt another click in my head. It felt like another stroke. I actually felt it because I was actually writing it. I was in a library in Florida. I felt this click. I looked at the first entry of my diary, and for the first time I looked at it and I said, oh my God, who wrote that? It's awful.
Right. It was like,
Yeah, it's awful. And as fast as I said, oh my God, I just realized that I have been living unaware for 11 months. I have to write this down to the world as fast as I can. If I don't do it, the world will forget. I will forget what I had just witnessed. And for 15 more pages, and that ends with book 1, it ends by saying, and I'm telling you what I said then to the world. I said, to the world, I'm telling you this now. My eyes have been acclimated to a new altitude. And I was putting quotes in the book itself, in the diary, that is acclimated, that I can now see from a new altitude that I couldn't see before. And I wrote that as fast as I could. That means it's the activity themselves, and awareness comes later. I had no idea awareness has its own skill, right? And clearly it was lagging behind reading, writing, speaking, because I was getting, quote, better. But if you don't have the evidence, nobody would have known that I was getting better, because I was still unaware until that moment in time when I moved literally from being unaware to becoming aware. And at that moment, with now being aware, I wrote it down as fast as I could. So yes, it is the activity itself. It just doesn't matter.
it's
How good
absolutely,
or
it's
bad.
amazing. You're on is it Stroke Educator, your YouTube channel.
Yep.
And the most recent presentation at the hospital that you volunteer at, or you did,
Uh-huh.
that shows your writing from day one.
Right.
And that everybody should go to the Stroke Educator YouTube channel,
Right.
because I watched the entire thing, and wow, does that make it was really eye opening to see how when someone has a stroke and has aphasia, but you don't think you have it, I mean the writing shows perfectly. I was
Yeah.
looking at it, the writing completely changed, and the words kind of jumped to make sense. And I could watch that again, because it really is an eye opener.
Isn't that amazing that what turns out is that evidence. So if I already told you, just do anything. Now, the clinicians will probably say, oh, Tom, this is, this doesn't really work. I say, no, it does work. Do anything. If you have to write, because that is the thing that's wrong, that's bad, right? It has to get better. How do
Right.
you get better? You write about writing. So you write it, it doesn't matter. Write a squiggly line. It just doesn't matter. Because if you at least every day write a squiggly line, it will get a better squiggly line until it starts to look like something, right? And now you go, oh, I can write an S when I couldn't do that before, right? I
Right.
can write an O, which I couldn't do before. So it is the activity themselves. It doesn't matter how bad it is, whether it be reading, writing, or speaking. If that's the activity, that's number one, is the doing. Number two is saving the evidence. Because if you don't save the evidence, you won't know, they won't know, nobody will know. You
Right.
have to save the evidence. So that means it turns out that in the saving, you've done two things. One is it's the evidence of the activity. You have to do the activity. So that's number one. Saving the evidence of the activity you were doing is number two, because only later do you find out that awareness has its own skill. And as I got better and became aware, then I could actually explore, what was I doing on this day? How was I getting better with these various modalities? Because in this case, I had written it down, but then I started recording what I was trying to say. That's the evidence, right?
Right.
Then I had to have it transcribed so I could actually see with my own eyes what it was I was thinking and then saying, because if I didn't record it, it would have gone up into the air. Nobody would have known what I was saying that day if I didn't record it too. So if doing is one, the saving the evidence is two.
Right. Right. Um, look, here's another one here. Nancy, you're saying, I don't know if you could see that before why are the doctors and nurses not trying the aphasia? I agree with that for me, because the only reason I knew is when I saw, I think I mentioned, I ordered all my records, and that's where I saw it. My neurologist wrote down aphasia, nothing else. Didn't say, I didn't know what that meant, the word meant.
Mm.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. And I'm looking at saying, yeah, I now read aloud on a digital recorder.
That's great. That's great. You can also do video. That's also a good way to do it, which I never did. I wish I had, because then I've been able to see what I was saying and be able to see what my face looked like.
Right.
Too.
But at least you did the writing, because it affected my dominant side. So for me to write, but I didn't think I should be writing. I wish I would have. Because looking at you, that presentation alone that you did there, wow, it just shows.
Yeah, I do an exercise. Believe it or not, somebody mentioned here about doctors, nurses, clinicians. I have had classes with this particular exercise, and you should do it too when you have your groups. And I'll tell you, because it's very easy.
Okay.
If this is for the clinicians, right? So they have their dominant hand. They didn't have a stroke, and I tell them, okay, I give them all pens and pencils. I say, okay, write your name, normal, right? Write your name. And they do that. I said, okay, now if this is your dominant hand, take your non-dominant hand and write your name again 10 times, right? 10 times. And I'm going to time it, right? You have to do this within 3 minutes. And they start writing. And by the end, and these are the people who you would think they understand how the brain works. By the end, this exercise, and I saved all their responses. At the end, they told me, "Oh my God, I'm frustrated. I'm angry. I don't understand. I don't have." They go on and on and on about all of this activity of writing with the non-dominant hand, and then I explained to them, well, this is how the brain works, right? Yeah. What you are doing now, obviously, is you are breaking through the networks that have always been done this way. Obviously, those connectivities aren't that there. It's going to take you a long time to grow these new dendrites to allow you to write perfectly with your other hand, right? And they go, I don't ever want to do this again. And these are the clinicians,
right?
And the doctors. So they don't really think about how it works with you and me when it comes to persistent repetitive activity on a day-to-day basis, because it takes, in my cases, thousands of miles. For these guys, they didn't even think that there were thousands of miles that were yet unborn to now
Wow.
create them so that they could write properly with their other hand. They had no idea until you give them this little test, and they go freaky, actually.
Wow. That's a great example. I will have to try it because I get most of the stroke survivors in the group, but there are clinicians in there.
Right.
Um, that's a great example. I like that. I
Right.
thought you were going to say tire, what do you call it? You
Yeah.
know,
Right. Bind them. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. That too, for sure. That too. If you can't use it to do other things, it makes it more difficult, no matter what it is.
right.
You're right.
Exactly. Wow. Well, I mean, I'm glad we got to talk about this. I know
Yeah.
you're,
I'll send you. I'm gonna send the PowerPoint. I'll send it to you. I'll send you the PowerPoint. And I did it for myself, so I'll send the whole thing to you. It's just 3 or 4 slides, and then
okay.
you can use it. And again, you have your people that have their emails. You can send it to them too, and they go, "Oh, this is exactly it. This is exactly it."
Wow.
And you get to see all of their comments, and however none of them are happy.
that's that's good. That is a great example, though. I like that. Yeah, if you don't mind, that'd be
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
wonderful.
Yep.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, I see Randy. Great example. I mean, this is great. I'm glad that you guys are all here. Write it down 10 times. So they say they got frustrated, they're mad at themselves.
Oh yeah, yeah. They really had no idea. I told them I was going to do this exercise, and like all of us, we're always excited to learn something new.
Right,
But when I gave them this, they started doing. They fairly quickly began to realize what they were up to.
right. Exactly. Wow. Well, I might appreciate you being here. This is great. Thank you, T, for sharing. And also, this is so good, Dr. Tom. Great technique. Write it all down 10 times. Wow.
Let's see, what else? What else?
What else that you want to share about aphasia? Because there's so
Yeah,
much.
yeah. Here's another one. Um, um, the it has so if I mentioned you have to do, then you have to save the evidence, and then you have to study the activities that you had saved and have the evidence to study about, right?
Right,
So those are the 3 things, because each one of those has its own therapeutic factor that helps you. So the doing is huge. Recording is huge, because now you get to see what you had said before. So here's the first step. Here's the second step. I know I can't do it. Here you go. First, second. And then the third is studying the evidence of what you had written before when you were doing it terribly, but that's okay, right? So
right,
there's each one of these is a therapeutic um, uh, 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 movement in the right direction towards improvement. So in my case, I saved my diary,
right.
and then as I got better, I started trying to write about it and save the evidence of that, and then started studying what I had, quote, seen. And one of these times, and I saw it through also by recording. So I saw in my mind that I could see words that were difficult, or I just couldn't find them. Um, that's why they call it, can't find those words. But I could still see them, right? Most of
Yeah,
us have said those words that we can see them, but we can't say it. So on the inside, I could see that the words I want to get to are far away, but I can still see them. Sometimes
yeah,
they were foggy, they were more difficult to, quote, see, but they were there. Most of us know that. But when I tried to say those words or pronounce those words, and I just couldn't get to it,
Exactly.
I metaphorically on the inside, I would keep, some days I'd say, okay, never mind, I'll worry about this tomorrow.
Right.
But every day when I looked at those words, they appeared to be getting closer to me, right?
Mm.
Because now I could see them. They were still too far away. I still couldn't pronounce, but they appeared to me like they were getting closer. And I thought, wow, I feel like I'm always looking across a river, across a bridge, across a river, and that bridge was always burning. So I could see my words, but they were on the other side of that burning bridge river.
Wow.
But as they got closer, because I was looking for how did I get across this river? How can I get over there? So I kept looking at it. And every time I looked back, I would see it getting closer and closer and closer. And sure enough, after a couple more, I forget it was days or weeks, I found myself on the other side of that river. And I was right next to those words that I could now express that I couldn't express before. Now, scientifically, you and I both know that how I got from being far away, now able to say, means that all of those dendrites were built crossing that river. They were the bridges to allow me to go from here to there. Clearly, just the actual fact of thinking about and considering and wondering and figuring how can I come up with those words, all of those provide the activity and the effort that goes into building new dendrites. Those are the fibers, right?
Yeah.
And literally days, like I say, I don't remember if it was days or weeks, but literally I could see it on the inside that I'd actually crossed the river and now I could pronounce what I couldn't express before. So that is actually physically, actually to look inside and say, oh, that's why it's so far away, because metaphysical, but also in real life, it's far away because it takes a much longer time to take these steps to get way over there because you're running out of steps, right? Because there's no
Yeah.
more steps that you can take because they're gone and you have to build new one. And it's the effort that allows you to build new steps going forward.
Wow. So, such a great information there. I'm just thinking, would I remember that word? Because that happens to me all the time. You can talk to Barb, and all of a sudden, I know what I can see the word way across the bridge or the river, or whatever, but it won't come out. And so I think of, and then I kind of forget it. But you're saying just I got to still go after that. I mean, pull the word closer to me.
Yeah. When I say, right, just bringing it closer to you, it is now we go back to the activity itself, right? The activity is important, but the truth is half of the energy that comes from just thinking about the activity, thinking.
Yeah.
So act is big, but if you don't have time or energy to actually do the activity, just think of the activity. And that will also provide you with therapeutic energy that helps build new dendrites.
Yeah.
Dendrites.
This is terrific. So I mean, I learn stuff every time I talk to you. I mean, really.
I learned too. I'm looking at all these questions, and there's a lot of questions I can't answer to either. So I learned from that too. I got to figure this out. Yeah, patience.
I agree. I mean, I know. I one thing with these comments coming over, I like this because it kind of asks questions. Like you said, well, I may not be able to answer them, but um, yeah, I agree. Salute. Patience is definitely needed in moving forward. But yeah, I'm going to really work on those the words as far as what you were just talking about. Because sometimes I just give up, and I know it's not what I should be doing. But I figured out that word will come back some other time.
Right.
But oh well, it will, it will. But
it will.
yeah, because sometimes I'll sit there but I guess I do this is when I'm trying to say something and I give up, but now I am thinking about the word, like, what am I going to say? And then I go, aha, I have a aha moment. And then I find that word. It came to me. and then I'll explain it. But
Well, that aha moment is that point in time when you have built enough of that bridge. Think about it that way. You're just building a bridge. And of course, you can't get there until you build the bridge all the way. But as you build it, and that aha moment is that point in time physically when you laid down enough of those bricks to let you walk where you couldn't walk before. That's the
right,
way it works. And the aha happens to be one of those instances where we go, aha, that's because you just did that.
right, right. Makes sense. I love it.
It's, yeah. I think people think that our brain is somewhat magical. It's just so powerful that it
Yeah,
appears like it's magic because
yeah,
it's so powerful, but it's not
absolutely.
magic. It just
Yeah,
takes a lot of understanding of how the brain works.
yeah, I agree. It's like I told you this probably a long time ago. It's hard to believe, but my my wife's uncle, he passed away from a stroke too. But it was a crazy situation. But he before he passed away, he discovered how the brain works in a cat,
Mm.
and he's written a bunch of books about that. Uh, he's a very eccentric um, doctor too. But
That's true.
yeah,
What's his name again?
is Robert Hecht Nielsen with a hyphen, Hecht, Nielsen, Nielsen. He what's it? I forgot what he confabulation. That's one of his big things. But yeah,
I think you told us this over the years, and honestly, I think I'm gonna have to go find it. I don't know if I went and bought one of his books. Right? He published some books.
yeah, yeah. He's written books, but for me, he's signed against me. But for me to when I read them, it doesn't make any sense to me, just because it's so like way over my head. I guess that's easy for anyone, but yeah, that's
Yeah,
true. Right, Salute. We all learn from you. Why does it
yeah. I
sound
think
like they say it's me?
Yeah, I think we learned from Jerry too. Jerry is such a nice, happy, um, optimistic person that, honest to God, it helps me get better. You know, Jerry, if you call me to do anything, I will do what you want me to do. Why? Because I like you. You know, because you're so good at what you do. Because
Wow.
we're all trying to figure this out. So uh, on any given day, your optimism helps all of us just by being who you are. So yes, Jerry, yeah. My wife up upstairs, they know, where's Jerry? What are you doing today? I'm with Jerry today. You know, so I've told you before, I can't wait till I get to Texas and see you there somehow, because I think you've done a tremendous job for all of us with your work. And
Oh,
that cannot be denied. It is true what you've been doing.
I just try and get to the point where we can help one person and one person. That's what it's all about. And
And look
I
at this, more
appreciate
than one for you,
yeah, I know, I
right?
appreciate it. And Mike, he always gives me a hard time.
Look at that. His head is getting better. I know that's Mike Peters. But
Yeah,
yeah, that's pretty funny.
yeah,
Yep,
definitely.
absolutely.
Well, look at all these people here. Wow. Maybe my head is getting a little bigger, but I do appreciate this. Now I know we've just gone to an hour, and
Well, that went quick.
yeah. So I mean, again, we could talk about this because that's your mission. Is to
Yeah,
we're
that's the
all
damn mission. That's for sure. I've
yeah.
told it to you guys before. Anybody wants to join Aphasia Nation, you have my number. Call. Jerry's got it. Call. Uh, this is a huge mission, and we're not going to get there on our own. I need as
Not
many more people,
yeah.
and it's going to take us years to figure this out. But the truth is, I'm getting more aggressive. That's what I'm calling it, and I don't mean in a bad way.
Right.
But
No,
you
I
know, I
agree.
can't keep talking to clinicians who say, as I lead them into this, and they say, "Well, you know, we're doing a good job." I said, "You are, but," and
Oh,
I don't want to be pressing the healthcare community. I mean, they're the people who really are heroes too. So I have to figure out how to thread the needle so that they understand, like we all understand, what heroes they are, yet still talking with the heroes to say, we have one more thing for you heroes to do for us, and
Yeah.
that is help you help us understand how to teach you how aphasia really works, not what you've read about in a book.
Right. Exactly. I agree. I agree. And Brad, in the beginning, um, Dr. Broussard, he mentioned you about the license plate that you got. So
Yes, more people. If
absolutely.
you're from all around the country, we only have 3 states, so there's 47 states to get tags for if you happen to live there.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure I'll be in person with you sooner than a year because we're going to New York for a wedding. So
Ah,
maybe I have to make a trip.
come up to
Maybe.
Maine.
Yeah.
You come up this way for sure. We're gonna have lobsters for you.
Yeah. Have you been to the lobster with it was on Shark Tank. Cousin's Maine Lobster.
I guess not.
Yeah, they started there, but now it's huge. But they're out
Oh,
here too. But
no
yeah,
kidding.
but I love lobster, so gosh, I'll take you up on it. We'll definitely do that.
If you come this far east, you should just come a little bit further north,
Exactly.
right?
That's right. So true.
Let me
Well,
know.
definitely for sure. But well, thank you guys for being here. And Tom, these this will be here, so I appreciate it. Always, as always, that you're
Nice to
able
see
to
you too,
hop
Jerry.
on.
Nice to see everybody.
It is nice. It is nice, and yeah, I know Salute will be here in a day or so.
Really?
Yeah,
She's coming to see you?
yeah, she has a timeshare out here. So
No kidding.
yeah, and so she's gonna. It's in the town that we live in.
No kidding.
Yeah, so she'll be there, and we'll do a show together right here on my computer. So
Wow. How do you like that? Good for her.
yeah, yep,
Wow.
it'll be fun. It'll be fun. So all right, you guys. So nice to see you June 1st through the 8th. Okay. Thank you, Yvonne.
There you go.
Always.
Look at that.
Well, that's it, you guys. We'll see you Thursday with Mark Harder. So,
All right.
so
Hi, Mark.
okay. Take care. Any last words there?
Nope. Sounds good. Good luck.
All right.
Now we start Aphasia month, starting tomorrow.
Yes.
Busy, busy, busy.
This is really when we get the word out
Yeah.
more than ever.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
okay. Salute says she's going to check Maine for time
All right.
out there. Good.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.